Hello, my name is Lizzie and this is Lizzie Reads, and welcome to my spoiler-filled A Light in the Flame reading vlog. So this one is very highly anticipated. A Light in the Flame by Jennifer Armentrout, the sequel to what's it called? A Shadow in the Ember. Came out last Tuesday. It is Monday now, the following week. It took me a really long time to get hold of the paperback in the UK that I wanted to read from, and I thought I'd do a little spoilery reading vlog. I'll link my reading vlog for Shadow in the Ember down below. I'll also link my From Blood and Ash playlist down below of all the videos I've done about From Blood and Ash, which is my favourite book series. I talk about it all the time. I reread the books all the time. It's a huge comfort, enjoyable series I love. So if you have not read any of the Flesh and Fire books, so that's From Blood and Ash, Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, Crown of Gilded Bones, A War of Two Queens, A Shadow in the Ember, or this, or if you don't care, this video is not for you, because I'm going to be talking about spoilers. I'm going to be referencing the other books in the series, what I think is going to happen, and all of this jazz. So I literally just finished reading A Shadow in the Ember about an hour ago. I was rereading it and I slowed down my reread while I waited for the paperback to arrive. Then I had a really busy weekend, so I wasn't able to finish and start this book. But it's now Monday and I want to binge read and talk to you about this book. So, quick on what happened at the end of the last book. Obviously, Sarah has been found out by Niktos that she was sent to kill him, and she intended to make him fall in love with her so he could kill her, so she could kill him, sorry. And she she didn't want to do it. She probably wasn't going to do it anyway. She found out that killing him isn't going to save the rot in lasagna, and she basically has been found out. She revealed it herself. She wasn't caught as such, and she has to deal with the guilt of that. And then she was attacked a couple of times because she then found out, because she carries the ember of life in her, she is the true primal of life. She is descendant of, I think, is it Seraphina, who Colis fell in love with, who is masquerading as the primal of life. And she also found out that she is now ascending, and her gums hurt just like Poppy's dad. She's gonna grow fangs, it's gonna be amazing, but she is ascending, and the only way to save her life within the next 6 months is for the primal of death, Niktos, to ascend her. But in order to ascend her, he has to love her. So how can he love her after that betrayal? I don't know. Of course, we know, if you've read the series that this is a prequel to, we know that they fall in love, because naturally Niktos and Sarah, or his consort in the other Flesh and Fire series, their sons are Malik and not Ios. I've forgotten Poppy's dad's name, but they are Poppy's grandparents. So although they're not in the series, we know that they do fall in love. They have children. It sets off this huge chain of events, which is it's just the best. But you know you're going to get there, but it's the journey there. So I imagine this one's going to be super tense. I feel like there's going to be a lot of pining in this one, trying to deal with their emotions and the betrayal that they have to each other. And so in the end of the last book, Niktos was saying, you could never kill me. I never would have fallen in love with you. That's obviously bullshit. They're obviously already in love, like, obviously. So that's super exciting, and I'm really excited to get started reading. I don't know how much I'm going to get read because I've got quite a busy afternoon. I might read like a chapter in bed before I go to sleep. But I wanted to start this video and let you know what I think. So I'll be updating a lot of it's not going to make any sense, and I'm really interested to see what information we get that is going to have an impact on the next from Blood and Ash novel, so after the War of Two Queens, because at the end of the War of Two Queens we know Kolis has awakened, and that's in the prophecy at the end of A Shadow in the Ember. So we know that Kolis does awake, and Kolis does is going to come and fuck shit up with Isbeth. So very, very, very interested in this, so excited. A Shadow in the Ember really took me by surprise. There were things that I thought were too similar in between Poppy and Sarah. However, I did really, really like it overall. The second half is top tier. Loved it. Very, very tense, and so good. I love the audiobook, so I do have the audiobook, but I will let you know once I've actually started reading. Okay, so I'm just in bed reading, and I read the first chapter, and what the fuck? Respectfully, what the fuck? So spoilers off the get-go. Niktos can't save her because he literally cannot love. He had the spark in his soul removed, so he cannot love. What the fuck? She just always brings out the weirdest twists, and it's so good. I love it. Hello, happy Tuesday. It's my birthday today, and I'm celebrating by reading Shadow, A Light in the Flame. I am up to chapter 6, and Sarah's just decided to go and kill Kolis. Don't know how that's gonna go. It's interesting, there was already like a big fight scene, a smut scene, a bit of like Sarah being injured, and Niktos quite obviously being furious about it. So it is, I shouldn't really eat my chocolate whilst filming. It is Wednesday. I have just finished work, that's why I haven't spoken to you all day. And it being my birthday yesterday evening, I was busy in the evening, so I didn't speak to you. But I am now on page 210 of A Light in the Flame, and I'm really enjoying it so far. It's been very, very action-packed in this first part. It's been very much lots of things we're finding out, lots of plans being made and then unmade because they're trying to sort of figure out what's going on. In terms of Niktos and Sarah's relationship, there's like a strong bit of miscommunication between them, but not too much to the point that it's sort of getting in the way of their story. I think it's just a case of them, because of the situation that they've been in, they've not been speaking about their feelings as much, which I can kind of understand why sort of Sarah would feel like she's not brave enough to say, look, I love you. This is like, I do love you. Like, I don't know why she's not brave enough to say, I mean, she's not brave enough to say it to herself. I wish she like knew in her heart that she loved him, because I know. And I wish, yeah, lots of things go, lots of thoughts there. However, we've just found out that Kolis has refused, that he's not allowed to become, she's not allowed to become his consort. So there's lots of information going on, but I'm excited to see what's happening next. I'm really, really hoping to finish like before the end of the workday tomorrow. That'd be really, really good. And the only reason I say that is because I just feel like I've been in From Blood and Ash world, or Flesh and Fire world, for so long, because I've been doing the rereads, that there are a couple of books that I'm really itching to get to that I want to read. And although I'm really, really enjoying this, I feel like I'm a bit behind on my other reading, and I just want to get read. And also I'm finding it really bingeable, so that's good. I've started listening to the audiobook now as well, So I've got quite a lot going on this evening. I say going on this evening, I've got plans, but I've got things to do. So there's not like loads going on, but there's just like a lot of things, and I might read a little bit in bed, but I've been getting into the habit of going to bed really early, and I do really like waking up early, so I think I probably won't read that much, maybe like a chapter, but we'll see. So yeah, and I had a really few late nights at the weekend. I still feel like I'm catching up. So yeah, so I will be doing that all while listening to the audiobook, and I'll let you know where I get on. Hello, so it's the next day again now, and I really want to finish this book today, mainly because I've got a really busy weekend, and I feel like if I don't finish the book now, I don't want it to drag out for too long, because I don't want to have to leave too much time in between readings. But I've got quite a busy work day with lots of admin stuff, which means I can listen to the audiobook. But I'm not feeling my best today either, so yeah, it's a whole time. But I'm currently on chapter 24, and I'm on page, so that's page 308. This is very different to what I expected. It's a lot more adult than from Blood and Ash. I just feel like the sex scenes are a little bit more adventurous. They're a little bit more different. What in the way I sort of feel with the Blood and Ash books is that Poppy and Cass are very situational or contextual in their variation of sex scenes. So it'll be a lot of sex scenes because of the different places they're in, and the different places that they go to, and the different things that spark their sex scenes, especially as they're sort of learning to love one another, and then later on when they're sort of reunited and things like that. Whereas for Sarah and Niktos, they are stuck in the same places, the same sort of, they're not moving at this point. So their sort of sex scenes are a little bit more spicy. So obviously earlier we had like a masturbation scene that he sort of walked in on. That was quite interesting. And then we had the scene in the bath where it was like quite explicit about, without a better way to put it, is just solely foreplay, which it was amazing. It was such a good, it was very detailed scene. And then we had like the biting and everything, and so that was really good. And then now I'm just currently at a scene where they've been in the lake, but the lake that he made, they are being a little bit more rough with each other, and also I think they may be doing anal. I'm not sure. That sounds weird that I'm not sure, is that I was listening to it and I think I missed the cue that specified it, but I think they're doing anal, and it's fine, I'll double check in a minute. Sometimes when you're listening on audiobook, one word can change it all, and I haven't gone back to check. It's keeping it very interesting. It's still a lot of miscommunication, like they haven't decided what they want beyond sort of their aim to kill Colis or get rid of Colis, take Colis out of the picture. As we know, Colis is not killed. Colis is just put to sleep, forced to sleep. I don't think that will happen at the end of this book. What I think is going to happen at the end of this book is, I think that towards the end of the book is when, so there'll be a chapter near the end of the book where they decide that they are in love. Like, not in love, but because obviously Niktos can't feel love, they decide that they are like committed to one another, in the sense that they decide that they want this to be real. They'll probably say this is real, similar to what Poppy and Cass have said. And then I think what will happen is they'll be summoned by Colis. They will attend the summons. Colis will recognise the Sartoria element of Sarah, because Sartoria was his love, and she's been reborn multiple times and into Serafina. So I think that's what's going to happen, and then he, at the end of the book, will be him taking her, and the start of the next book will be them two together, not together, but her like as one of his captives. just going based on what I know from reading these books in the Flesh and Fire and Blood and Ash series. So that's what I'm thinking is going to happen. But I am really interested. And the only thing that I haven't liked about this book so far is, so obviously there's an age gap. And I will slander age gaps anywhere else in the world. Or anywhere else in fiction. I don't much like age gaps. Unless it's vampires. You know, and gods. And in this situation, look, JLA just gets a pass, alright? I can't explain it. I'm a hypocrite. So, there's the age gap between them, and Ash, Niktos, has said that he was keeping an eye on Sarah, just like I think that he felt drawn to her because of the primal embers in her, and like obviously those embers did belong to him, so the primal of life embers, so he is like drawn to that, so he was keeping an eye on her, which I felt like was it wasn't being described in a creepy way until she said, oh, it's because of the embers, and like that's why. And he's like, I didn't come out to you because it would have been creepy and weird. And he was like, but I felt drawn. And I was like, okay, like this bit I can push past. And she said, oh yeah, because you came because of the embers, that's fine, like it doesn't matter. And he's like, yeah, but he's not telling the truth. And I'm like, so you telling me you fancied this child? Like, please don't do this. So it's there, and I've remembered it, but I'm also pretending it doesn't exist because everything else about this book is so good. So I'm granting a pass to JLA for that because, well, I'm nothing if not hypocritical. So yeah, I'm going to carry on reading, and hopefully I'll let you know later on in the day how I get on. I thought that JLA could not surprise me anymore. I thought there was no surprises. I thought it was going to be of a formula, and I still think that what I thought earlier is true. However, it's not just before the end that they sort of admit their feelings to one another, because right before Sarah goes into the Vale to look in the pool to find somebody that they need to find, whatever, doesn't matter. Not important to this side of the story. She tells Niktos that she wants to be his consort, like his real consort, like this is real. And I was like, okay, love this. She didn't say it's real, so not so far. They haven't said it so far. So they said that, and that's fantastic. I think it's going to be great. Yeah, so it's all good. And then he goes, and then she comes back from that little expedition with Niktos, and Niktos talks about how much they love each other, and she comes back and he is being fed from, so Vessus is feeding from him. Now he's all like dopey and like whatever, and Vessus is grinding on him, so clearly that something is amiss here. But whatever it is, the pain that Sarah feels is valid. It's valid. Has she jumped to conclusions? Quite possibly, because I think Niktos is being like, something has happened to him. He's not in a state. He's not cheating on her. He is, I believe that what is happening is he's been like tricked or duped because his blood makes Vessus more powerful maybe, or Vessus knows something or has done something to him. There is something there, some sort of deceit, but not necessarily betrayal of the worst kind. But Sarah is devastated, and I can understand. So the pain, the trauma, the angst is strong, and I am very, very much enjoying it. It's taken me on a turn that I didn't think we were going to go, and it's made me want to keep reading. So I'm like, got to keep going. So yeah, I'll let you know what I think happens next. Okay, so worst lighting ever, but I'm not stopping right now. I'm so near the end. What the fuck? So Callum's here. Callum's obviously the first Revenant or whatever, or something like that. and it says here, Penelope and the last oracle born of the Balfour line. Penelope Balfour. Even though she's not really a Balfour, Ian is an oracle, right? That's the only thing that possibly makes sense. I look like a bull. This is the worst vlog in the world. What? Okay, so I just finished, first of all, her being captured by Colis going to drain her lifeblood, and her stopping him by telling him she's Satoria, or she has Satoria's soul in her, or she didn't specify to Colis. What the fuck? So much has happened. I can't take it in. There's so much. There was the prophecy, and I'm trying to figure out what the prophecy has meant. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a day, because my friend who I buddy reading this with hasn't finished, and tomorrow lunchtime we're going to have a call and we will probably discuss it all in spoilery details, and I will chat to you after that, my full info, like my full thoughts, everything for you to just have. But yeah, I'm in shock. I liked it though. Still 5 stars. Very, very good. Did I prefer it? I don't know. It definitely ranks above the War of Two Queens, because the War of Two Queens is just pain. I'll tell you about it later. I thought I should probably wrap this part of the video up. I've taken some notes. I haven't spoken to my friend yet because she didn't quite finish on time. So I'm going to have to wait till after work to talk to her, which is not ideal. Mainly because I just want to talk to someone about it. So I've made some notes on basically all of the things that I sent my friend on voice notes for her to read as we went along. So I was ahead, so I was sending voice notes with chapter dates, like this is this one, don't listen to this yet. So my main sort of thoughts was there was lots of links I was trying to draw by things that I'm predicting that are going to come in the next Blood and Ash book. So at the beginning of this video I kept getting confused between Blood and Ash and Flesh and Fire. Flesh and Fire is Sarah and Nikto's, Blood and Ash is Poppy and Cass. So there are a lot of things that I'm thinking are going to come back to haunt us, so to speak, or things that are going to come back to being important later down the line. And one of those is quite early on, Sarah learns the repercussions of what happens when you bring someone back to life. So that was quite interesting, and I think that's going to really play a part in future stories. Although one of the big things we learned early on in the story was that Niktos can't love, because he's had his cardia removed, which is the part of his soul, part of a primal soul that allows them to love. So he's had that removed. I don't see why he can't put that back in. And as they talk about the early primals not being able to love and then they learn to love, I don't see why he can't have it put back in. But also, I'm like, so what's the difference? So if this is true, everything we know to be true, and Ash doesn't love her, sorry, Ash, Niktos, if you're here, you know what I'm talking about. If he doesn't love her, then why does he act like he loves her? Because he acts like he has a lot of love for his people, his family, his friends, and especially Sarah. He really acts like he loves Seraphina, and he behaves in a way which would lead me to believe that he does love her. So I'd be interesting to see that when he can love her and when he does love her, what changes. So what about his person, and like what about him will change. So I think that's really interesting, because I wonder if, like, it just felt like it was all a bit of a wild goose chase in terms of the plot, like, because they kept going to places and then it turned out to not being what they thought. So I didn't like it because I felt like they needed to explore all avenues, but I feel like we're just going to go back to the point where he does learn to love her, because we know she survives, obviously. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see where it goes next. I'm loving the cameos. So obviously we had Victor, that was fantastic, and I love learning more about the characters. We've had cameos in the Royalty Queens, so Reva, like learning about Reva's origins is really funny, and the way that Reva differs to Nectar, sorry, and that's really exciting and interesting. One thing that I do think is being foreshadowed for something that Poppy will be able to do is shadow stepping. So Niktos does this thing where he wills the shadows to move his body, or he moves through the shadows when he moves really fast, and it appears, and because it's like primal magic, it appears to a mortal as though he is shadow stepping, like the shadows are moving. And I think this is one of those things where they are talking about it now, and it's something that Poppy will be able to do in future books. Also, they talked a lot about how the culling weakens you, and going through the culling weakens you. Now, we know that Poppy is going through the culling, and she's getting fangs, she's having headaches, she's you know, she's experiencing teething. I wonder if in the next story, Poppy will be in the next sort of Blood and Ash book, Poppy will weaken to the point where she'll need a lot of like care and being looked after, and I wonder if that will allow more of the soft, slow moments that between Poppy, Cass, and even Kieran that we didn't get really between Poppy and Cass in the Royalty Queens, because they were separated, so there wasn't as much like soft like sweet moments between them. So I wonder if that will just provide a nice few scenes in the next Blood and Ash book. I have spoken in depth about the variation in smut in this series, which in this book, which I liked a lot. It made it a little bit more interesting, and when you'd read all of the books back to back, it does make it stand on its own a little bit more in terms of the smut, because now I'm very familiar with the way that JLA writes smut in this series, or in these two series in particular. So the variation just mixed up a little bit and kept it fresh. So the last part that I really wanted to talk about is the prophecy and what that leaves us with, because I'm a little bit confused about the prophecy. I think I need some more time to sit and think about the prophecy, or even just let it sit where it sits, and then I'll think more about the prophecy next time. But the prophecy part 1 is like still about, is the bit that we already know about remaking the realms and the first daughter and the second daughter, and we think that Millicent is the first daughter and Poppy's the second daughter, but Colis seems to think this is about Sarah, but Sarah being the second daughter, and I'm not sure. I don't know if the both books, the characters are getting confused between which parts are relevant to them and which parts aren't, because I can't be 100% certain, because a lot of it's very vague. So how am I supposed to know what's sticking to what, to be honest? Last Chosen Blood, the stolen bit, which is obviously about Colis, because Colis is the only one it applies to, and Colis is in both books. The bit that doesn't confuses me, so 1 born of Blood and Ash, 2 crowns, bringer of life, Blood, Mortal and Draken, that could be Sarah, because she obviously awakens and she brings the Draken back to life, but Poppy's powers mimic Sarah's, so I wonder if there's like a mirroring, so everything happens twice, so everything is done twice, because Poppy is also the bringer of life, and she could be the primal of life and death, because does she usurp the primal of life and death because she is a primal? I don't know. I'm a little bit confused on that part. and the something in the Draken will become one. So the blood, mortal and Draken will become one. I'm wondering if Sarah and then Poppy will shift into a Draken, potentially, or be able to become a Draken. I'm not 100% sure. The only reason I say that is because Poppy has a fixation on being able to become a changeling and turn into a Wolven or a Draken or something. She really talks about it a lot, like, why can't I do this? Why can't I do that? I feel like Sarah may shift into something. Someone may shift into something. And if they're going to shift into something, it's going to be the most powerful of the things you can shift into. So Draken, and obviously what I think is happening is because Sarah's going to become the Primal of Life, she is bonded to the Wolven. No, she's bonded to the Draken, and Poppy's bonded to the Wolven. So potentially, because Poppy is Nyktos and Sarah's granddaughter, and she is the Primal, she can be the Primal of Life and Death from both sides, and then shift into a Draken. Potential. I feel like it's one of those ideas that Jayla is probably still playing around with. I don't know if she's fully decided at this point. The sun's getting really, really low and it's getting super dark. Yeah, so it just ends on the Primal of Life and Death, and I don't know what I think. I don't know what I think's gonna happen, and I'm getting so confused. Oh god. So thank you so much for watching this crazy all over the place video. Obviously these videos are never go as smoothly as I'd like, but that is mainly because there are so many thoughts, there are so many things to put down on the page, and I cannot film hours and hours long footage, but it's okay. Thanks so much for watching this ramble. I will probably speak to you again soon. Speak to you later. Goodbye.